Not strong enough, my friends. Not strong enough. Wasn't strong enough to steal some points in this one. 530 watts, 90 seconds. Got dropped by my teammates after averaging 321 watts for 31 minutes in a team time trial. Had no answer to Philip's attack on a climb. Still couldn't smell the podium at the Zwift Racing League. And I'm still too comfortably heavy, lots of work to do. And welcome to today's video. Time truly flies and it felt like just not too long ago. I started training for 2024 and it started off with 2 months of strength training. Then 3 months of base training went by, and a couple of months after the build phase, I'm here with you at the start of another year. 2024 was a year with a few highs and many lows to keep me motivated in this journey to getting stronger. And I've been documenting this process, and this is the third video in this series where I share my experience going through the cycle of the periodization training model. What it means is basically just planning and organizing workouts into blocks. The idea is to make sure that these blocks complement and build on top of each other in order to peak towards an event or time of year. I've already done 2 videos documenting strength training during the off season and 12 weeks of base training. Today I'm gonna round everything up and share the result of training in 2024. I took an 11-day break from cycling in January and started strength training on the 22nd of January 2024. That one lasted for 8 weeks. The link to this is in the description. Then base training started on the 25th of March. I started with 13 hours a week and ramped it up to 17 hours at the end. This one lasted for 12 weeks and the link is in the description as well. Then came the build phase, which I haven't talked about. And this was a 12-week block as well, and during this period, I dropped the volume from 15 to 17 hours to just 13 to 15 hours a week. Duration came down but intensity went up. More threshold, VO2 max and race-specific work were included, and TSS are typically around the high 700 to mid 800 per week during this phase. This was a nice change of pace after months of base work. The sessions were hard, but somehow I felt like I could handle the stress a lot better than I did in 2023. I think this has to do with the base work I put in earlier in the year. One of the key things to designing these threshold and VO2 max sessions is progressive overload. I'm a little more conservative and cautious now that I've become more experienced. For example, I started off doing 4 reps of 10-minute threshold intervals. The following week I will increase it to 12, then 15, then 20. In the next block, I will repeat the same thing with a slight increase in power. I will then apply the same logic to the VO2 max sessions. On top of these 2 power zones, I also threw in a couple of 30 seconds anaerobic effort at the end of some of these days. These are very taxing, especially if you are doing it at the end, so I will usually plan it before a recovery day. Anaerobic power is a more race-specific work that I've included to my training this year. It's key to some of the Zwift races that I do, and I cannot neglect it like what I did last year. Gym work also goes into maintenance mode during this phase. The top priority is to make sure that I can execute the interval sessions the best I can, and I like to include these sessions after an intense day of riding. And this is the juicy part, How strong did I get? Well, the results weren't as straightforward as I've hoped for. I got an FTP of 323 watts from the RAM test I did during the base phase. It was the highest I've ever gotten from a RAM test, and that sets the expectation. I took another RAM test at the end of the build phase, but the result wasn't what I've hoped for. In this test, I gave up at the 400 watts mark. I could go on, but right then, I knew I wouldn't be able to beat the previous record, and if you ask me, I would say that the RAM test is actually accurate. I took it at the end of a 3-week block and it reflected the state I was in, fatigued. This was a low point after putting in the work. I was fully expecting myself to beat the record. But I wasn't disappointed, it's just reality, it's just a number. Some days I feel strong, then some days maybe not. And after 3 years of cycling, training, studying and learning how my body reacts to all this, I knew it was just a case of a not so strong day. And I've learned to not let that affect me. The RAM test wasn't up to my expectations, but the signs of progress presented itself in a different form this year. Just a few days later, I had to do a power test at a local esports cycling event. We were supposed to go all out for 6 seconds, 1 minute, 4 minute and 20 minutes in any sequence we wanted. I opted to follow the sequence and these are my numbers. 1338 watts for 6 seconds or 16.9 watts per kilos, 656 watts for a minute, 395 watts for 4 minutes, 323 watts for 20 minutes. I could do more in the 1, 4 and 20 minute in a standalone test, but I had to hold back so that I could still perform them back to back. So I would say in this scenario it's actually pretty accurate as well. Apart from the event, I was also put to the test in some of the races this season. 8th August, 55 minutes, 310 watts. 3rd December, 30 minutes, 321 watts. 10th December, 11 minutes, 351 watts. And there you have it, numbers. Every time I post something FTP related, I always get comments like, yeah, but can you hold it for an hour? To be honest, I don't know what's the obsession with that. I'm not gonna hop on a trainer on a random day just because I have a random thought about how much watts I can average for an hour. However, if it's a race, then yeah, let's do it. Let's break down the course and think about how we want to pace it, etc. If you ask me, are you happy with your progress? Yes, just numbers alone, I'm definitely stronger than I was last year. And this was after the fact that my Stages bike had been giving me elevated power readings all this while, making me think that I was stronger than I actually am for the past 2 years. I've invested quite a fair bit this year going down the power meter rabbit hole, and I'm happy to say that I have at least 3 power sources that are giving me the same readings, but that will be another topic for another day. So comparing the best power number that I've done using that juiced up power meter and my Asiomas, we are looking at an 11% increase in power just this year alone, so that's a good thing. And growth is a long game and I have to be realistic. However, if I change the question to am I satisfied? No, not at all. I know that in the grand scheme of things, I'm actually at the lower end of performance cycling. I know that I won't be anywhere near the pros no matter how much I train, but between that and where I am right now, there's a huge gulf that I'm very interested in swimming in. There are just so many weaknesses and holes in my game, and I know there's so much more that I can do. The body's ability to churn out watts will slowly come in time so long as I continue to put in the work, year in, year out, and that's the long game. And then there are other nuances and factors like nutrition, diet, weight management, recovery, hydration, etc. A lot of lower hanging fruits that will make me a more competitive cyclist if I manage it right. I'm still learning and it's been a really fun experience so far. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't fun. I'm really looking forward to 2025. It's gonna be more of the same this year. Now that my body can handle a lot more stress, it's time to push it a little further. I know what I need to do, so stay tuned because there's gonna be a lot more adventures, more races, and more training related information that I want to share this year. For now, cycling season isn't yet over for me. There's still a bit of racing left to do before I close the curtain, and I'm really looking forward to that break in February. And after that, it's go time again. I hope 2025 will be an amazing year for all of you. So please ride safe and I'll catch you all in a bit.